What's going on, guys? Greg here. I got another saber for you guys today, and this time it is a Darth Sidious hilt. It's the first one that I've owned, and as Shamim so eloquently put it, it looks like a penis. It looks like a penis or a vibrator, however you want to look at it. Now we got that out of the way. Again, I laughed when Shamim said that in his review, so I'm going to echo his words. But no, aside from the fact that it looks like a vibrator, this is actually a very beautiful hilt. It was done by 89 Sabers. It came in, I'll just put this down here. It came in a box like this, as a Darth Sidious. It says high-end collector's edition. When you take it out, take that. It came inside a box, and it also came with an extra emitter. The Saber right now, and I'll show it later, has a prop style emitter, so it's no blade, and this is a 7/8 blade emitter, which I chose 7/8. You can get 7/8 for an inch. And then it also came with 4 sets of switches, the LEDs, where I didn't use the switch version, but it came with 2 of these and 2 normal LED switch combos that you got to choose from. And for me personally, I think that this is a big deal. I like having a pretty box to put in. I think it's just a really nice way to present the Saber. Also, on a side note, this stand is an incognito stand by Cameron over at Celtic Studios. I got one from him about a month ago, and I really like it. It works well for this hilt especially, but even on bigger hilts, because it actually hides the stand completely. So when you have it down on the table, it kind of looks like nothing's there. It's kind of just floating there. So really cool stand. Just a little shout out to him. Like I said, I bought it from him, but I talked to him. I told him I'd mention it because it was a really good stand. So shout out to him. But anyway, so back to the Saber. I don't get into the whole recasting debate with Corbin Parks and Peter. I've done business with both of them now, and I'm secondary to the whole entire thing, so I stay out of it. But what I can say is that based off of the Sid 1.0, which I was lucky enough to get my hands on, a buddy of mine let me use it for a while, and the Master Replicas Sidious hilt, I believe, from my own opinion, that this was definitely based off the Master Replicas hilt, because there are a lot of differences between the 1.0 and this, and then when the 2.0 comes out, which I'll be getting one in the fall, I'll probably do a comparison video of the two. But like I said, so that's my opinion. I've done work with both of them, and they're both great people, so I'm not complaining towards either side or leaning towards one, because, like I said, great on both sides. I will say that when it comes to this hilt, extremely accurate and extremely heavy, but the hilt itself, let me just put this up here, it's gorgeous. It is chrome plated here. I don't know all the technical terms for the different metals. I didn't research that beforehand, but so you got chrome plated and then a really, really nice powder coating. I can't tell because the lighting's not amazing, but you should be able to tell that it's got a little purple tint to it. It's a really nice purplish copper that is, around the grip of the Saber and then up here in the emitter section. And however Peter did it, it's amazing. It doesn't scratch, it doesn't nick. I'm also treating this thing like royalty, but still, it is tough. The pommel itself, vented for sound, but this is a design that's very, very similar to the Master Replicas. And then you have your emitter. This is the prop style emitter, so it's still a shine through, but it's a much thinner neck. And then you have your activation and then auxiliary. Before I installed this, I actually had a spare crystal shard board. So internally we have a crystal shard, we have actually an RGB LED, because I wanted to be able to design it to have any sort of blade that I wanted. And I figured that if I wanted a purple for the Mace Windu fighter, if I wanted to do a little bit more of an orange blade, I could add in a little bit of green to the red. Or if I wanted a white flash on clash, then I could do, all 3 of the colors mixed together. So I decided to go with the RGB. Because I don't dual, the brightness of the blade isn't as big of a deal for me, because I'm almost always having these as shelf queens where I have a blade plug-in. So that's just me. It's my personal preference. If I was dueling with it, I think it'd be a much bigger deal to have, like a red or a deep red, in order to allow that brighter blade. But since that's not my my thing, then that's not an issue for me. So yeah, Crystal Shard. I have a Goth 3D chassis. It's actually the 7/8 Core Banth 1.0 chassis, and I heavily modified it. I cut it down, I opened it up some to make it fit, and it actually fits perfectly, and I'll show you guys the inside of the Saber in a little while. But inside it also has an internal recharge port, and then a 24mm bass speaker, excuse me, from Aaron Lynn, I believe is his name. Don't hold me to that. But yeah, I grabbed one of his speakers out of a buddy of mine. I'm doing a Dooku for him, and he had an extra speaker, and we didn't have an extra one, but I took it from him, and then I grabbed another one from Aaron, because I'm not doing that Hilt yet. So Keenan, thank you. I took that. Yeah, I'm replacing it though, so thanks. Yeah, so let's see. So yeah, Activision auxiliary. I'm actually going to show you guys the inside right away, right now. I have it tightened. So you also get an Allen key with it. This is it holds a pommel in. The only complaint, which isn't really a complaint, is that the pommel can be very tight to get out. I'm hoping it's not this time. It was good today, but sometimes the pommel can be a pain in the butt to get out. The one thing I'm still messing with the settings is the way that I have it set up is right now, so you can't even see it, but the speaker sits in there, and the pommel actually holds the speaker perfectly up against the soundboard, so there are still some false swings. You guys will probably hear that when I turn it on, but I'm still messing with that, with the settings on that. So anyways, move the speaker aside, and then inside you have your recharge port, and then SD card access, kind of hard to see. But what I did is I actually have a spare 7/8 chassis. But basically, I cut out that piece right there, and then I fit the recharge port at the bottom side of the chassis, and then I have the board up here. And when you put it in the hilt, it actually holds itself all together, and works. I said works really well. So they just slide the speaker back in, make sure no wires are caught, and then the speaker is held in because it just doesn't fit inside of here. So this butts up against the speaker, so there's no rattling, no nothing. And then that just slides back in here. And you take this, screw this back in. And then before I boot this up, the one other issue, which isn't really an issue, again, is that this is a fingerprint magnet. As everyone's gonna say, Jordan said it, Shamim said it, everyone's gonna say it. I mean, so I literally not walk around, but I have a microfiber cloth right here where if I'm putting it up on the shelf, then I can wipe it off and make sure it looks pretty, because I mean it's already covered in fingerprints, and now the OCD is kicking in, so I'm not going to look at it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this here, and then actually so activation, it's going to boot.
I am the Senate.
And then activation. So you guys can see right now I have a little bit of pulse going on. Again, there's 6 sound banks, so I can kind of mess with the files, but right now it's basically a purple flash on flash. Yeah, so. Two things. First of all, you can actually get the sound or the motion sensitivity pretty close to a crystal focus. I know it's not the same thing, but you can get there if you really mess with the settings enough. So that's what I kind of did, and I got it where, again, let me change sound banks just to.
It's treason, then.
So, but I mean, you can get this. I think it's a green flash on flash. But like I said, you can get this where it's pretty darn sensitive and pretty accurate to most oh god, motions. Wow, that took a while. And the only other thing is that I owe a shout out to KSith, as I probably almost always do, because Keenan that's the Duke that I'm going to be doing in a while, but Keenan went through this sound font is Sidious No Mercy. I don't know who it's by. I apologize. But Keenan went in for me and created some custom boots for me. And then there were like one or two files that were a little not they weren't perfect, but they had like a couple like clicks in them and kind of sounded a little weird. So we kind of fixed a couple small things. Again, nothing against the person who made the sound font. It just happens to be that he went in and just kind of fixed a few files for me personally. He's not selling it or anything. So thank you for helping me out there. And like I said, he gave me all these boot sounds, so I'll just cycle through them quick. That is the activation. It helps if you hit the right button.
You have become a rival.
Except that one. That one came with the sound font. That is my 6th bank, so now I'm cycling back through. So this is bank number 1.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
Also, Keenan, thank you, because you sent a loud, an extremely loud, and then a quiet version of that. And I accidentally put the extremely loud version in when I first built this saber, and it scared the ever-living shit out of me. So, thank you. So that's 2.
Do it.
Which is my absolute favorite.
I am the Senate.
And that's where we started. So yeah, so like I said, overall, it's a very loud saber too. Jordan just put up a video, Jordan Eugene, where he put in a 23mm, I think he put it in a Railmaster. And so I'm assuming it sounds pretty similar, but I mean, this thing is loud, especially for being a tiny, I mean, that is tiny. A tiny little vibrator, and I mean, I have good sized hands. But yeah, so overall, like I said, I absolutely love this. This is, I'm at a loss for words for what Peter did with it, and I congratulate him on kind of getting his name out there, and hopefully any bad blood can be put to rest between him and anyone else, because like I said, this is a great product. It really is. So yeah, oh, I'll show you one last thing before we go, is that in order to swap and put your blade in, because I never do that on camera, this entire upper piece unscrews, and then you can attach this silver ring, which usually it's longer. I cut this one down because my LED is further up than most installers do, because I didn't use a solo hold one. I just used a regular TCSS heat sink. And so yeah, so this piece, you can mount this on a blade plug or a blade, and then when you put this in, you would slide this, or you would slide the normal one, not this one, but you would slide it over the blade all the way down and then in here, and that would hold the blade in place. That's kind of a way to do blade retention without actually having to drill into the saber. And then the only thing is that behind in here is where my heat sink retention screw is. So yeah, sorry this is a little bit of a longer video, but I absolutely love this, so I love talking about this hilt. But before I go on for another 5 minutes, I'm going to cut it now. So thank you guys. I'm going to have an announcement about some of the upcoming Corband hilts and installs I'm going to be doing for them, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, thank you guys, and I will see you next time.